Lawyer mom and her troubled kid. This happened about 2 or 3 years ago. I was working at a day camp during the summer run by Parks and Rec. I was a site leader, which meant I was in charge of staff and calling parents if anything happened. Entitled parents are nothing new to me. Twice a week we would take field trips to different places in the city and in other nearby cities. This particular day we went to an indoor jungle gym where the kids could climb, play, and just have a good time. All was going well until about 10 minutes before it is time to leave. One of my staff finds me and tells me that 2 kids got into a fight. We'll call them Kevin and Tommy. Kevin had gotten in trouble before in the summer, and also earlier in the day, my supervisor decided to let him go on the trip because we couldn't get in contact with his mom, the entitled parent. I should also mention that EP is a lawyer. Tommy hadn't gotten in trouble yet this summer, but he was a take no bullshit kind of kid. I separate them and basically get their statements from other kids who saw it, from the staff that broke up the fight, and gave them ice packs since they were hurt. On the bus ride back they were separated and I was making calls to my supervisor to get permission to suspend the kids. We had a no tolerance rule for physical fighting, but we still had to get permission before we could suspend them. I got permission. Kevin would have a longer suspension than Tommy because he had gotten suspended before, but not enough times to permanently suspend him from the program. Once we are back on site, I plan to start making calls to tell the parents what happened and that their kid was suspended. When we got back on site, Tommy's dad was waiting for us cause it was his day with him. He did not have as much time with him as the mom did, so he was eager to pick him up. He was confused as to why Tommy fought someone, but understood and went on his way. I call Kevin's mom on her personal cell phone and she answers. EP, hello. Me, hello, is this Kevin's mom? This is Forward Giant from the day camp. EP, obviously changing her voice to sound like someone else. Oh no, she's still in court. I can take a message. Me, oh well, can you tell her to call me back at the camp? EP, okay, but she might be a while, she is so busy in court today. I attempt to call later because my supervisor really wanted me to tell her over the phone so she'd have time to cool down before she got here. No response, so I leave a brief message telling her to call us back. She doesn't. It gets around the time that she usually comes to pick up her Kevin. All of my staff is ready for the tornado that is EP. She finally gets there and she says, let's talk in the office. She knows the drill by now and she clearly heard my voicemail. She gets her son and we go to talk. Usually I'd grab a second staff member, but we were short-staffed and my supervisor wasn't in. EP starts grilling me like I am on the stand in court, completely ignoring her son and that fact that he got into a fight and this wasn't out of character for him. She keeps going on and on about how I pay good money for my son to come here so she can go to work. Okay lady, so do the other parents who pay for your kid to not beat the shit out of them, plus she got a discount on her payments because she was a lawyer for the city. She also demands to see the staff that witnessed and broke up the fight, cause my word apparently isn't good enough even though she's known me for a year or two and she claims her son loves me and actually listens to me. I tell her that staff has already left as she usually opens. She demands to see her in the morning when she drops her other kid off. EP keeps grilling and grilling me. At one point a supervisor comes in, grabs her stuff and leaves cause she knows EP is a real piece of work. Mom is convinced that the other kid didn't get punished at all, even though he also got suspended. Finally I tell her that he did get suspended and she moves on to grilling me about something else. When she finally leaves, I had been on the stand for over 30 minutes just for doing my job and she never once asked her son a thing other than is that true, to which he never answered. After she is gone I just sit in the office and try to collect myself. The supervisor that came in told me you really should have gotten someone else to sit in here without, which pissed me off even more because she walked in and walked out. Once I get home I give the staff that witnessed the fight a heads up that EP want to harass her next, but we are going to put her in with the other group until EP leaves. Of course the next morning is the only morning I opened all summer. When mom comes in she demands to see the other staff member, but I simply tell her, she's usually here by now, but she's running late today. She wasn't, she was in the room directly behind me. EP, how unprofessional. I will be speaking to her when I pick up my other kid. No you won't, she'll be at home. After his suspension, Kevin came back and continued acting up. No wonder, since his mom never acknowledged his piss-poor behavior. The staff ended up coming with a plan to deal with him acting up, which mainly consisted of him sitting in the office with one of us while he attempted to solve one of those brain teaser puzzles until he wanted to join the group. I have plenty of other stories from that job that will be making their way into this thread eventually. TLDR, kid gets into a fight and lawyer mom puts me on trial. Edit, it wasn't just us he acted up for, obviously, he was blacklisted from class at his elementary school. I'm not exactly sure what that entailed, but I know certain teachers refused to have him in their class. Mom couldn't just send him to another school cause that's the only public elementary school on the section of the city they live on. They live on the thin strip that is mostly hotels and tourist traps. Guess she didn't want to give up her 3-story beach house to move her kid's school.